Right. So you have to talk about the money somehow, and it can be done so many different ways. And I don't love the favorite out there. What's your budget? What's your budget for your hair? I don't think people budget much of anything, and so it almost is an insult. It's like, excuse me, you
Yeah.
budget with, I just want a bob.
So now, as the client, I just want a bob. As the hairdresser, you don't be like, oh, okay.
Right.
There are many, okay, I understand you want a bob. There are many kinds of bobs. Which did you have a particular one in mind? And if you say no, then it's like, well, then I have to start giving you examples. There's the
Well,
A
it could
line,
be
there's
anywhere
the
from
U line.
here to here, right? And then even graduate, right?
So
We
now
know.
we start narrowing it in and honing in on what the client actually wants very quickly, efficiently, and easily without having to sit there with the awkwardness of, what do you want? I don't know. Well, make a choice. Well, I think I want a bob. Well, okay, fine. Then I'll cut it. All right, let's go.
I'll guess. Show me a picture.
Show me a picture, and that's the whole thing. So then once they get comfortable having that conversation with people, naturally things will start falling into place. And that's really one of the key things with communication is what I find. It's automatically makes you more confident too, because now you're going in with a little bit of a plan. And as long as somebody has an idea of what they're supposed to do or what's supposed to happen, it lessens the scariness. It lessens the fear of, what do I do next? Now what?
Right. And that's what I tried to do with mine was mostly based on high-end services for the consultation, because people would get really nervous when the ticket was really high. They didn't know where to start. So I kind of started with some basics that anybody should want to know but don't realize it. So if you take the fear out of it and just have the first few questions ready, you should hopefully know their name. But if you don't, we can start here. What's your name? Hey, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm Eddie, and you are.
You are right. Right. How did you hear about me? That should be the first question. It's a good icebreaker opener. It's nothing about hair. Hopefully it turns into how they heard about me has something to do with hair, hopefully, but maybe not. Maybe they just met my wife at a women's group thing, and she said, you should go to my husband and do your hair. He's good. They might not have ever seen my hair before, but they know, like, and trust her, because everything's about knowing and liking and getting referred from somebody somewhere. Even if it's just basic marketing advertising, you put some pictures or video out there of your work and somebody saw it randomly. That's still something they had to like something about what you put out there. But the conversation should just always, like you just said, start with, I'm Bernard. What was your name again? I didn't catch it at the front desk. Be honest, And then, how did you hear about me? I just walked in and said, I'll take the next available.
The next person, and you were standing there.
Well, and that's worst case scenario. I just need a haircut so bad, and they said you were the only one that had time for me. Oh, so you really don't care? Because I would add a little humor to it there and be like, so you really don't care what happens to your hair today? You don't have any idea what I'm good at, bad at. What were you hoping to get today? I love that word, hope.
Humor is the best way to nurture a relationship with somebody, especially if it's your first time meeting them. Nobody knows each other's personality yet. Nobody knows the tension or what they're allowed to say or not allowed to say, or how they should say something. So, going extremely out there and just throwing some insane thing out there is fun. It's funny and it's fun.
And that only comes from confidence. So when you're brand new at it, you're really scared. You're never going to do that. And I get it. So, I mean, at least even if you are the only one and they're like, well, I just walked in and you're the only one who could do it. Well, lucky me. I'm so happy to help you. What were you wanting to get done today? What were you hoping to get done today? Well,
yeah, right.
Because I like to say hoping, because I like to act like, you know what? I might not have enough time or the skill. I don't want to act like I am the best ever. I can do anything and everything in the world, because if you are here for a wedding updo, you're in the wrong chair. There's a small possibility that you just walked in and your sister's wedding is in 2 hours and you're just hoping to get a quick updo. It happens rarely, but it happens. And you're like, Are you kidding me? You didn't schedule this.
Did you not get to save the date?
That's worst case scenario. But usually it's like they start explaining what they want. What were you
Yeah.
hoping we could do today? This gives you a lot of outs, like, let's hear it, tell me. And they start describing the service and how they saw it on somebody else, whether you did it or didn't, or you did their friend's hair. And they get it definitely eases the stress in your life, because now you are starting to understand what they want, like you said. So I agree that the consultation conversation is huge. And you know what? If it can start on the phone before you ever see them, if it's a phone call reminding them of their appointment or even making their appointment, it can start right there. What's your name? I got to put it here in the computer. How'd you hear about me? Oh, really? What did you want to do? Because now, if you're the one making the appointment, you can make sure you schedule enough time to do what you guys are talking about, or at least guess how much time, or schedule a little too much and you can narrow it up later. Or for me, I'd rather have too much time than too little, until I got confident, and then I wanted to squeeze as many in as I could, because I knew that I could almost always finish faster than I thought, especially if I enlisted help or assistants or helpers or whatever. But at first, just book more time, be safe, be careful, do 2 clients a day and have a lot of conversation. So I think that's really good. And then for me, which was huge in conversations that happen too seldom, is talking about the money. Because the money, they need to know, even if it's not exact. You can even say it's going to roughly be. But too often I've had people get to that front desk and they're just mad. She never said it was going to be $300. Mm-hmm. Whoops. What did she say it's going to be? She didn't say anything. She described it. And I just couldn't imagine that could take, that it would take.
Yeah. The sticker shock, right?
Yeah. It could take that much money from me.
So even if the person did like it, now they're pissed. And so you just ruined a potential future business. And I understand it's awkward to ask people for money, because, you know, we're always told growing up, it's like, oh, put that down. Oh, don't ask. That's rude, whatever. You know, it's a parental thing that we're taught from as we're children. But in a business setting, look, think about it. It's amongst the first thing everybody does when you're looking to go buy something. You look at the availability, then you look at the price, then you see how long it'll take to get it shipped, or how long it would take to go pick it up if you're going to go get it yourself, right? This is no different. We have to bring up the price.
Right. So you have to talk about the money somehow, and it can be done so many different ways. And I don't love the favorite out there. What's your budget? What's your budget for your hair? I don't think people budget much of anything. And so it almost is an insult. It's like, excuse me, you budget
Can
your
you
life.
afford this? That's
what
you're saying.
Assuming like that they're assuming you budget for everything. I budget. My whole life is very organized. I'm hoping yours is too. Oh, it's not, you loser. But I just don't like the word budget with a client, because I think it really talks down to them. I do want to bring up the money. And so again, I'm extreme and I'm a little crazy in some ways. I like to really make them think a little. And I go about it a bunch of different ways. And so I might even say, well, I think it's time to talk about the money. Does it even matter? Because sometimes they'll say, it doesn't. Perfect. Then you don't have to talk about the money. That's rare. But all right, we got to talk about the money now. And if you hate talking about the money, just say it right then. Say, all right, we have to talk about the money because my boss said we have to. I hate this part, but I don't want to get to the front desk. And then you say, I didn't know it was going to be that much. And then they might say, it's going to be a lot. I don't know. I don't know if we finished talking about exactly what we're going to do. Each part of the service starts adding up money. You want a lot. You named, like you said, you want it cut, you want it styled, you wanted it 2 or 3 different colors. I described to you how we're going to do this. 2 different colors, roots a 3rd color. They're going to be, you know, you wanted this rooted look, shadow look, whatever word you fancy color term you use that your friend had. And I like to ask for fun. I like to say, do you have a rough idea what you think it's going to cost? I love playing
you
that
love
game.
throwing that to them.
I love asking them. So what do you think it's going to cost today? And then, you know what's funny? Most of them say a price, because I'm so confident in it. They'll say, they'll start off a lot of times with, oh man, I have no idea. I'll say, well, I bet you have a dollar amount you can't go over today. I just want to make sure I don't mess up and go over it. And they're like, well, I can't go over 300.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
well, perfect. It's less than that. Or shoot.
299.
Well, see, I think people are more trusting than that. And I don't think people
No,
will. I'm not going to take advantage of them. I just know that it should cost about a certain amount in my head. I'm thinking, and let's say it was going to be 350 and they said 300. I'd say, oh, it was going to be 350. And many times they'll say, that's fine. I might not be able to tip you this time.
hey, and you know what?
I would, and
Your
so then you
bill.
have to decide. I'd rather be sure. I don't want to charge 300 and maybe get a $50 tip. I'd rather charge 350 and get the 350. And I'll say, that's okay. You can catch me next time. So then I could say, well, it's only going to be 250, 260, 280. So perfect. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Or it's going to be give or take $20, $30 from there. I don't know if we're going to need a tone or tone twice or two different toners or mix extra color. So yeah, as long as you're getting in the rough ballpark of the amount, then I think it's helpful. So you got to just figure you out with money, and everybody's going to be different.